Thanks for tuning in to the Urban Scope podcast. And of course, I'm back with more NCAA women's basketball news, especially with the tournament being so close. I believe it's only a couple weeks away, the big tournament, but of course, the conference tournaments are underway in about a week or so. So it's getting very close to the tournament time. And of course, this is everybody's favorite time of the year if you watch basketball and sports because of the madness of how many games it is within so many days, and it's one and you're done. And it's just a fantastic time for fans to watch, especially if you've just been watching here and there throughout the season and you kind of got glimpses of teams. This is the time where you really find out who's really about what at this time of the year because it's one and done. So it's very critical every game now. Everything's under a microscope, opposed to the regular season where you have a little leadway, to lose a couple of games. But now you can't lose any games, or it could be the end of your team and you have to go home. So it's very exciting. But watching a lot of these college women games, especially yesterday or on this past Sunday, it's a lot of competitive teams. A lot of teams are starting to slip, but a lot of teams that are starting to extend as well to hit that certain stride. And there's not a lot of teams right now that's hitting that stride, but there are a few teams that are kind of peaking. And one of those teams that I've watched is LSU. LSU played Ole Miss this past weekend, and they did a phenomenal job. I mean, they started off pretty slow because Flau'jae was in foul trouble, and then they had other people in foul trouble, and it just seemed like they wasn't there all the way, even though they were at home. No, they were actually away and at Ole Miss, but it was very tough for the team to actually their first start. But that second half, they kicked it up, especially in that fourth quarter. They were fantastic because Ole Miss didn't make a basket. I believe they hit a couple free throws, but they never made a physical basket or a field goal on the field. So they did a phenomenal job defensively, but offensively as well, as they turned most of those defensive turnovers into points. But it had me thinking about Flau'jae Johnson and her importance to the LSU team because she's one of the most important players to her team in the country. But my question that I was thinking to myself is she's the most important part to her team because we know AZ Fudd and UConn, what she means to that team, but you have Sarah Strong and you have a couple other pieces, and then you have this Hall of Fame coach who can can input these different pieces to make stuff fit to kind of supplement her if she was out for any reason. Not to say that Kim Mulkey can't do that, but there's different levels, and Gino Auriemma is considered one of the best coaches ever, not just best you know, women's basketball coaches, but coaches ever. If you want to put him against NFL players, coaches or NBA coaches or MLB managers or anything like that, he's very comparable because of his winning percentage, how many players he's put in the pros, how many players he's coached to national championships, how many wins. Um, he probably has more. Um, he doesn't have many home losses either, or losses, period. You can say he probably has more losses in a preseason than he does actually in a national championship, which is very impressive. So he has those pieces. And then you have other people throughout the nation. Of course, you have Olivia Miles, who had a triple double yesterday. The phenomenal stuff she's been doing at TCU and what she means to that team because she's the offense. She's the engine. She gets everybody in the spots to get the passes. She's not even really looking for to score most of the time, even though she did score 40 the other night. But she reminds me so much of Jason Kidd because of her ability to pass and her vision and just the way she handles everything. She just have to work on the defensive end a little bit, but that'll come with time, especially as she gets to the WNBA. And then, of course, you have players like Hannah Hidalgo, who's at Notre Dame, who's pretty much all of the scoring for that team. She's the one lone star, especially since Olivia Miles left and Sonia Citron left and went to the league, and Maddie Westbell left and went to the league. So she's pretty much the lone star. She's pretty much home alone, or that last scene in Fresh Prince where he's just stuck there with no furniture and the house is empty. She's that piece in Notre Dame. And then you have, of course, Madison Booker, who also has Rory Harmon and Oaker and all those pieces. But, for the most part, she's most of that offense. So You think about Flau'jae's importance to the team, I believe she is the most important player on her team at LSU because she has other pieces like Michaela Williams and Malaysia Fulwiley, and she has Zakiya Johnson, who's at the center position, and she has a great coach in Kim Mulkey. But at the same time, she is the engine for that team, not only as scoring, but for the defensive end. And she's probably more important defensively on that team because we know Malaysia Fulwiley can get buckets. We know Michaela Williams can get buckets. But Flau'jae makes the timely shots to get everybody's the energy boost. And also, she's the spark on defense. The other night when they were down to Ole Miss, when she came back out of foul trouble from the second half, the timely steals that she made and the defensive plays that she made, making shots difficult and things like that, was phenomenal. Now she's a 5'10" player, so and that's pretty much probably equivalent to a 6'1" player in the NBA. But her defensive prowess is very phenomenal. So what she can do on the defensive end and disrupt things for teams makes the world of difference. And sometimes you just need to be the spark on defense or wherever you can do it. And she can do that. She can make timely rebounds. She can make timely passes, shots. She can do it all. But on the other aspect of her team, Michaela Williams and Malaysia Fulwiley, they're not really expected to do it much other than scoring. Michaela Williams is a phenomenal rebounder, but she's not really needed to do that. She's needed for the buckets, same as Malaysia Fulwiley. But Flau'jae is expected to do everything, and she's that one lone leader on the team that's still from the remnants of that Angel Reese national championship team. So she's been a leader for a while. I even think when Angel Reese was on the team, she was more of a leader than more so Angel Reese because I think it was just naturally ingrained in her DNA and just from how she was raised. Um, but I do think tournament time, she will be the most important piece to her team in the NCAA tournament because I don't think even, AZ Fudd, I don't think, without her, I think they can still get to the Final Four or the Elite Eight. But without Flau'jae, they're not even getting to the Sweet 16 because this team is very talented, but Flau'jae is the engine, and you can't go so far without an engine. So her defense, her shooting, her ability to drive to the basket, put her head down and drive to the basket to draw fouls, to make shots. But most importantly, like I said before, her leadership is everything because I think she's the most important leader or the best leader in the country on a team. And it's not just off her play, but what she does in the huddle. Despite what Kim Mulkey has to say, she has, I believe, the final word and really puts the imprints on the team and know how to get to the team to get the best out of. So I do think she will be able to do that because I know Mulkey's, she's very involved, but I think Flau'jae is everything. And next year when Flau'jae is no longer there, I think we'll see a different team. She'll have to find a new leader, whoever that is, and Michaela Williams might have to step up in that role. But it's definitely one of those things that's ingrained in you and something that you're not taught, but something that's already in you. So she knows how to motivate and make those plays for the team and get the team riled up. So I do think she's the most important person, other than like Lauren Betts, who's um, very experienced on her team because she's in her fifth year as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see if those teams, if UCLA and LSU match up, it's going to be very interesting because nobody has an answer really for Lauren Betts if she wants to play when she does. So I think Flau'jae has a great chance to raise her draft stock for this WNBA draft because right now she's projected somewhere between 5 and 10. But I think with her leadership, any team in the WNBA can use her whether you have a guard or not, because she can play the guard position or she can play the forward position. Very versatile. So tell me what your thoughts about who's the most important player to their team in women's college basketball. And until next time, I'll see you next time.